Trudeau set to bid a tearful goodbye after 10 years of being Canada's Prime Minister. We decode the legacy Trudeau leaves behind. Mark Carney leads the race to replace Trudeau. Repairing the relationship with India will be one of his key focus areas. After decades of ignoring defence needs, European Union set to spend over 800 billion euros on defence capabilities. The move comes after American funding has dried up for NATO under Trump. Is this the end of the great European socialist dream, which prioritized social security over defence? And Indian equities rebound after deep corrections and after factoring all negative news, including major tariff hikes from the US. The Indian market is largely in line with the German market that has also rebounded, and in sharp contrast to the US indices. Will American consumers and American companies be the biggest loser in the high-stakes tariff trade-off? All right, viewers, it's been 100 days, 100 long days since Chinmoy Krishna was arrested on 25th of November 2024. The man who once led ISKCON's Bangladesh chapter and became a beacon of resistance for the minority Hindu community has been languishing in jail under charges of sedition, dubious charges, if I may say so. In fact, charges critics and human rights organizations have called nothing short of judicial harassment. But on India's sense, we ask, why is this case stuck with little progress? And what happens now? Why no hearing? Why no bail application? His bail application was rejected on 2nd of January, citing flimsy charges that he would cause anarchy. But his lawyers applied for bail again with no update so far. Chinmoy's lawyer, Rabindra Ghosh, has been under immense pressure since then. The 74-year-old has sought medical treatment in India, has even sought time with India's top political leadership. But this is not about his lawyer. This is about Chinmoy Krishna, and should he get justice that the law of the land provides to every citizen of Bangladesh. Remember, the silence from Mohammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate turned interim leader of Bangladesh, has been deafening on this. Yunus, who's the chief architect of Hasina's ouster, who claimed to be the white knight of human rights and democratic progress, now finds himself in the uncomfortable position of playing second fiddle to Islamists that seem to be in influential position in Bangladesh. What was touted as a revolution has turned into, well, many would say a game of power grab, because you also now have the student revolutionaries starting their own political party, Jatiya Nagorik Party. They claim to be building a second republic. Listen in.
হাজারো শহীদদের আত্মত্যাগের বিনিময়ে অর্জিত এই নতুন স্বাধীনতা কেবল একটি সরকার পতন করে আরেকটি সরকার বসানোর জন্যই ঘটেনি। জনগণ বরং রাষ্ট্রের পৃষ্ঠে জেঁকে বসা ফ্যাসিবাদী ব্যবস্থা বিলোপের মাধ্যমে একটি নতুন রাজনৈতিক বন্দোবস্তের আকাঙ্ক্ষা থেকে এই অভ্যুত্থানে সাড়া দিয়েছিল, যেন জনগণের অধিকার ভিত্তিক ও মর্যাদা ভিত্তিক একটি রাষ্ট্র পুনর্গঠিত হয়।
It's interesting that the soundbite that you just heard actually said that the aspiration was to rebuild a state based on rights and dignity of the people. Dhaka has hit rock bottom simply because now there are Islamists that are making moves behind the scenes. Jamaat-e-Islami and its affiliates have successfully infiltrated the interim government, leaving little room for true democratic change. These elements, which are now in position of power, have no interest in holding elections. Not anytime soon. Their authoritarian instincts threaten to derail the fragile hope of a new Bangladesh. And at the center of it all, unfortunately, is Mr. Yunus. He is, well, as I said, playing second fiddle with forces from all sides pulling him in different directions. His ties with Pakistan, a nation once ranked second on the global terror list, complicates matters further. As the country's secular dreams fade, the students who fought in the streets have been waiting for reforms. Even political parties like the BNP are waiting for elections. Ostensibly, these students took to streets to oust one dictator, only to see another form of oppression take root. And as the country edges closer to the brink, the dream of a renewed Bangladesh, unfortunately, doesn't look that near. Our first wide-angle story on the show this week is from Pakistan. From the world of cricket to the depths of economic, political and internal insecurity, Islamabad has yet to find its footing in any area that demands long-term commitment and stability. And one thing it's remarkably consistent on is its ranking in the Global Terrorism Index. And yet again in 2025, Pakistan is holding firm at number 2 spot. On your screens are those graphics that will play out. 5th year in a row, Pakistan has seen a rise in terror-related fatalities. Terror attacks have peaked 45%, largest surge in a decade. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. As per the index, Pakistan witnessed 1,099 attacks, 1,081 fatalities, and 1,500 injuries. These numbers indicate the first time in the history of the index that any country has surpassed 1,000 attacks in a single year. In fact, this sharp increase in violence has primarily been due to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, whose presence has grown very significantly. The group is responsible for 52% of all terror-related deaths in Pakistan. Not only this, the TTP's death toll has risen by 91% from the previous year, but it also became the fastest growing terror organization in the entire region, accounting for 558 fatalities. This surge is a direct result of the Taliban's rise to power in neighboring Afghanistan. It has emboldened militant groups on both sides of the border. There's also the BLA, that is the Balochistan Liberation Army, that's added another layer of complexity to Pakistan's terror dilemma. In fact, it's a terror complex that itself created, and I'll explain that. The BLA claimed responsibility for the deadliest attack of 2024. It was a suicide bombing at the Quetta railway station, killed 25 civilians and soldiers. Baloch separatist groups have seized upon the instability because they have been demanding that Pakistan go back on those Chinese-funded projects in the CPEC that violate their sovereignty, their local rights. The majority of these attacks have been aimed at Pakistan's military and police forces, with the police being the most frequently targeted. This surge in terror attacks is both a symptom and a cause of the nation's long-followed strategy of using terror as a state tool. Pakistan has created this problem. It has for long provided logistical, military, financial support and aid to the Afghan Taliban and the Haqqani network. And it is deeply ironic that ever since the same Taliban that it once created has come back to power in Afghanistan, attacks on Pakistan's soil have risen substantially. Well, in the words of Hillary Clinton, when you have snakes in your backyard, they will come back to bite you one fine day. And Pakistan is, remember, hemorrhaging from several wounds. There is political instability, there's social unrest, there's an economy in shambles, and this global terrorism index that shows probably the worst is yet to come, because TTP has vowed to hit Pakistan's army's commercial interests and comes after Pakistan Army's December attacks on TTP hideouts. It's not for nothing, viewers, that Trump 2.0 is pushing for a travel ban that targets Pakistan and Afghanistan because of the kind of security risks and threats that emanate from here. Second wide-angle story on the show. One of the biggest casualty of Donald Trump's refrain to bankroll NATO anymore has been Europe's long-held belief that it can afford to not put money in defense and instead double down on its socialism model, where work weeks have been shrinking, more and more people are being part of the social benefits, of course bankrolled by the exchequer. The European socialism model, which rested on cheap Chinese goods, cheap Russian gas, and US-funded security architecture, is pretty much over. Why this is a watershed moment for the continent, this report tells you.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks. It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing.
Less than a week after the Trump administration stopped all aid to Ukraine and made it clear Europeans need to pay for European security, Ursula von der Leyen, the EU chief, was forced to cough up over 800 billion euros for the continent's security, to be paid by the entire 27-member European Union bloc. A move that will have a dire impact on the finances of most European countries, which have long ignored their security and defense. Most European nations do not even spend the NATO-mandated 2% of GDP on defense, choosing to prioritize social security. The EU average is just above 1%. but some like Ireland, Belgium, Czech Republic, Germany, Croatia, Luxembourg, Austria, Portugal, and Switzerland do not even spend this bare minimum. Years of neglect will mean the upgrade for armed forces will cost large capex for most European nations. Most European governments are struggling with deficit budgets and higher cost of living, both of which could go up more as governments roll back social spends, possibly be forced to announce less populist measures and boost defense spending. A protectionist trade regime will probably end the era of cheap goods. End of the Russia-Ukraine war will allow Moscow to renegotiate the one-sided energy pacts, which will increase gas prices. Add to this the high defense costs, and Europe's socialist model may be dead. But how will this impact popular sentiment and politics on the continent remains to be seen. All right, a quick break on the show. We come back with lots more on the other side. Stay with us.
We all love a bargain, like these flatmates who switched to Vodafone and are now paying less for their full fibre broadband, which means they can still stream 2 shows at the same time. But for less. Still gaming with mates, but for less.
He's behind you.
Reliable full fibre broadband for less from Vodafone.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
What's that?
Have you only just noticed? I got it last year.
No, not that. That.
Looks like a nationwide card.
Yeah, I thought you'd know that, Dad.
Why them and not me?
Just feels good to bank somewhere that's owned by its members, rather than someone like you.
Missed me.
Because we're owned by our members, we put members first. Nationwide, a good way to bank.
Few of us ever look after our ears as much as we should. But when my hearing changed, I didn't want to lose what matters to me. Hidden Hearing understood. It wasn't just about hearing better. It's about living the life I love. Book your free hearing test at one of our 300 clinics nationwide and experience how our personalized care can help you keep being you. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
Sometimes there's things a man cannot know. Engines won't turn and the train won't leave. Dawn is coming, open your
What's wrong with the car?
It's okay, lads. I'm with the AA.
Ah.
Bombay mix.
Because the AA has more expert patrols across the country, you'll be back on the road in no time. No wonder more people choose the AA. Join today.
Sitting quietly while your car is made all shiny. Downtime can be just fine too. Ready meal is piping hot, waterproof on the loo. Just enjoy your back tattoo. Tea break, face break, maybe even watch the ad break. Sometimes it's not time for some tombola, right? It's enjoying lasagna time, chilling with a book time, or time to visit your nan time. Put the phone down.
The very last moment I'm doing this job. This has been the honor of my life serving Canadians.
Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau.
Thursday afternoon, Justin Trudeau fought back tears at what may be his final press conference as Prime Minister of Canada, delivering a speech that was as hollow as his promises. "We've got your back," he assured Canadians, as the reality of his leadership's failures could not be ignored. From a dismal economic growth record to a trade war ignited by Donald Trump, Trudeau's claims of progress are as empty as his political capital. Trump, never one to miss an opportunity for mockery, has referred to Trudeau as Governor Trudeau, joking that Canada might as well become the 51st state. But it's no laughing matter for Canadians, who've suffered under a stagnant economy and increasing tariffs, while Trudeau has failed to negotiate effectively on their behalf. This week, Trump slapped Canada with 25% tariffs on all goods, sending shockwaves through the economy. And while Trudeau threatened retaliation, the reality is the US holds the upper hand. In the end, the best he could muster was a promise of transition to a new leader. But that leadership, many argue, will be better at picking up the pieces than Trudeau ever was. Trudeau's economic growth numbers are dismal at best, lower than even the Harper years, which he once criticized so vehemently. For all his talk of investing in the future, it seems Trudeau's policies have only left Canadians with higher deficits and lower standards of living.
You can continue to count on each other. Canadians have been there for each other, for small businesses, for local producers, for friends. Canadians will pull together and continue to pull together with deep, deep pride in country as all of us stand together to defend Canada.
And yet, in a moment of self-reflection, he said he put Canadians first every single day. If only that had been true. Without mincing words, India has slammed the United Kingdom for its glaring security lapse during External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar's visit to London. Listen in.
I would like to again reiterate that we have conveyed our deep concern to the UK authorities about the breach of security arrangements by UK-based separatist and extremist elements during External Affairs Minister's visit. There is a larger context to the incident, and it's important to understand that. It brings out both the license accorded to such forces as well as indifference to their intimidation, threats and other actions aimed at impeding our legitimate diplomatic activities in the UK. While we have noted the statement issued by the UK Foreign Office on the matter, our view of its sincerity would depend on the action taken against culprits on this and previous occasions.
Okay, the security breach is not an isolated occurrence. In March 2023, pro-Khalistan elements had defiled the Indian flag at the Indian High Commission in London, and in that instance, New Delhi summoned the senior-most British diplomat in Delhi. UK government's condemnation of the incident, expected, seemed lackluster in its sincerity. Prime ministers have changed, but the Khalistani problem in the UK persists. India has made it clear that it won't take this lying down. The UK government's inability to act decisively in curbing the influence separatist groups have on its soil is no longer a matter of diplomatic courtesy. It's a matter of national security. And this incident is a stark reminder that the UK government must decide whether it will continue to turn a blind eye to these extremist elements or take concrete steps to protect diplomatic relations. New Delhi stands resolute, demanding not just condemnation, but the kind of action that speaks much louder than empty words. All right, viewers, on the eve of International Women's Day, I spoke with Suchitra Ella, who is the co-founder of Bharat Biotech, on the journey, why she chose to name the company Bharat, and what was it like coming to India from the US in the mid-90s into a space where not much was being done in India 30 years ago. Listen in.
This is Harvard India Conference. We talk about what India will be going forward. The fact that you chose to call your company Bharat, the fact that you chose to come back at a time when Indian healthcare and biotechnology industry was not where it is right now. The fact that starting a company wasn't so easy in India, and the fact that the STEM industry, the scientific R&D industry in India, was not where it was almost 30 years back. What got you here? Because as I said, a conversation with a woman entrepreneur should start with about what it is like to be a woman entrepreneur in India?
This is, in fact, I don't know how to even begin this, but it's this journey for us, for me, because I have to mention to you that all the introduction that was made with all humility, I would have to share it along with my executive chairman, Dr. Krishna Eller, with whom I traveled this journey for the last 40 years. And it was way back in 1986 that both of us, with our 2-year-old daughter, moved to the United States. And we spent 15 years in college, training and working and raising a young family. But I said, Krishna, is this why we came to the United States? Or is there a larger meaning behind this? So I said, I'm ready to go back when you are ready to follow me. So that's how it all began.
And what made you name your company Bharat?
Bharat was coined by me because I did all the paperwork. I said my background was in economics, so all that helped. So I used to do all the paperwork, filling all the forms to the banks and the government offices and everything. I mean, everything is paperwork ultimately. Even today, if you still have to type it on your systems. I called it Bharat because I said, in my own thought process, I said, I belong to India. I grew up in India. I took all my initial years of growing up, my education, my children, my parents, the upbringing, the value systems, until college that I was there. I said, I could not think of a better name because I know Bharat stands for many, many, many more things glorious in the past as well. So I said it cannot be called anything else but Bharat.
As I said, the COVID part changed all of us, changed your company. It allowed your company to really give that opportunity to serve not just India, serve the world through India. And I think that was probably the big, I would say, that lasting contribution that your company had in terms of Malapine, because it was not just Indians, right? You're talking about millions of doses to people outside India.
That were also sent out outside of India, yeah. Our pandemic vaccine was not a fluke. I've said this before.
No, research is not a fluke. Research can never be fluke. Yes,
there were many doubts, of course. It's human, and doubts are good to have. But we could only have, we could only do it, or we were prepared to do it because of, by then we had clocked in 25 years in India. I was saying this to Gauri earlier this afternoon. When we moved back to India, India was 50, and Bharat, we at Bharat were 0. When the pandemic hit us, India was 75. She was 75 and Bharat was 25. So by, in 25 years of our existence in India, we had allowed ourselves as an organization to build a strong backbone of research and partnerships, collaborations from across the world. And we believed in ensuring that we translate these technology platforms into products and vaccines.
All right, first up on Worldview, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has sent a clear message to New Delhi. It's time for the elephant and the dragon to unite amidst escalating tensions with the US, especially after the US imposed higher tariffs on Chinese goods. Wang's words are a clear recognition of the growing global threat. With Donald Trump's political resurgence casting shadows over international relations, China acknowledges that its future depends on fostering stronger collaborative ties with India. By advocating for cooperation over competition, Wang Yi underscores a critical shift in strategy. The focus is no longer just on power plays, but on democratizing global relations and strengthening the global south. The message is unmistakable. If the two giants of Asia stand united, they can reshape the global order, steering it away from the hegemonies that increasingly define our world. What started as a routine parliamentary session in Serbia on 4th of March 2025 quickly descended into utter chaos. Smoke bombs and flares lit up the chamber and at least 3 lawmakers were injured, one seriously as tensions boiled over. The vote was supposed to be about increasing funding for universities, but opposition parties saw it as just another power grab. With whistles blaring and a banner proclaiming Serbia has risen so the regime would fall, the chamber became a battlefield. As tempers flared, eggs, water bottles and even more violent clashes ensued. Serbian media reports confirmed the carnage, with officials later confirming serious injuries. Speaker lashed out, calling the opposition a terrorist gang, a chaotic scene that underscored the deep political and unshakable crisis engulfing Serbia. Months of anti-corruption protests have already left the government reeling, with the resignation still pending of the PM. All right, that's all the time I have in this edition of India Sense. Thanks so much for watching.
I love this car. But what if it gets pregnant? Can I actually do this? Oh, yes.
What's that like?
Said, let's do this.
Enjoy the leap with Churchill.
I'm a simple man, but now I'm in my 50s, things are getting a little more complicated. Retirement's peeking around the corner, and I wanted to make sure my family would be really looked after if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today.
They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period.
Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life.
Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more can be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4774 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
The war in Ukraine continues to put children in terrible danger. Homes, schools and hospitals have been destroyed, energy supplies cut off. Families are still displaced from their homes, now facing a harsh winter without warm clothes, fuel and shelter. To find out how you can help, search UNICEF Ukraine online or text WINTER to 84901. In my years reporting on war, I've seen its impact on children. But I've seen how UNICEF makes a difference day by day. UNICEF is providing warm clothes, boots and blankets to keep children and babies warm, and generators and fuel to help power vital services. £32 could help provide warm winter clothes for a baby or young child. Search UNICEF Ukraine or text WINTER to 84901 and help make a difference for children today.
Doing the right thing should be faff-free. So we've made doing your bit a little bit easier. Introducing new John West Eco Twist. Simply twist, enjoy and recycle. New John West Eco Twist. Fully recyclable, fully faff-free.
The all-new Temper Pro, our most adaptive mattress ever. Born from NASA technology, billions of ultra-sensitive cells relieving even more pressure for ultimate comfort and support. Now available with SmartCool technology. Temper. The future of sleep is here.
When you paint by feeling, you can come home to a blooming good day. Change starts here. Dulux.
Ladies and gentlemen, Britain hasn't been so great of late because the country hasn't been eating enough Weetabix.
Makes sense. I've been eating croissants.
To whoever's in charge of fixing potholes, VAR, and drivers who park like this, we must say, have you had your Weetabix?
What's wrong with the car?
It's okay, lads. I'm with the AA. Bombay mix.
Because the AA has more expert patrols across the country, you'll be back on the road in no time. No wonder more people choose the AA. Join today.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to the Southern View. I'm Bidar Raghav. Our focus this evening on the Karnataka Budget 2025, the deeper economic question, and what's in it for Bengaluru and the consumers. But first, the headlines we're tracking this hour. Trouble continues for actor Rania Rao as the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence gets her custody for 3 days amidst reports of political links to the scandal. A medical report on the actor rules out any physical torture in jail. MK Stalin expands the delimitation offensive, writes to 8 chief ministers seeking a united front. Home Minister Shah takes on the DMK head-on the language row in Tamil Nadu, asks Stalin to implement medical and engineering education in Tamil. This could mark a new beginning for US-Iran relations as Trump writes to Iran's supreme leader, seeks a deal with Tehran as the world watches developments very closely. First up this evening, the focus on Chief Minister Siddaramaia's record 16th budget. While the focus remained on funding welfare guarantees and keeping the pressure on deficit and borrowings just under permissible limits, the budget had some interesting aspects aimed at consumers, like capping movie tickets in the state at 200 rupees and leaving consumer items prices largely untouched. There are concerns, though, over capital expenditure and increased borrowings and deficit.
Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah presented his record 16th state budget, one that remained focused on the Congress's welfare guarantees and the party's vote-based social groups. Some of the highlights are: the total budget overlay is of 4 lakh crore, revenue deficit is pegged at 19,262 crore, borrowings amount to 1,16,000 crore, fiscal deficit has been kept under 3% of GSDP, the capital expenditure stands at 71,336 crore. Welfare guarantees to the tune of 51,304 crore figured in the budget presentation. Bengaluru city infrastructure was one of the focal points. 8,916 crore has been earmarked for a 40-kilometer double-decker flyover project. 300 km of additional roads, tunnels have been sanctioned. 300 crore has been set aside for startups. 100 crore for deep tech. While the BJP called it a minority appeasement exercise with long-term financial consequences, the Congress defended the budget as one that balanced fiscal prudence, Bengaluru city's needs, and the party's commitment to welfare measures. With Veera Raghav, Bureau Report, NDTV.
It's a minority appeasement halal budget.
Priyank, the first reaction from the BJP is that this is a minority appeasement halal budget. How do you respond?
I think the BJP does not understand the working of budgets. They don't understand the meaning of revenues. They don't understand the meaning of tax. They don't understand the meaning of revenue surplus or deficit budget. They don't understand about loans. They don't understand about economic empowerment activities. I mean, how is we have delivered 4 lakh plus crore budget. How is it a halal budget?
This government, the popularity is very, very low. It is not at all this thing. See, they are in the process of doing welfare schemes. They have come down heavily. They have drastically reduced the capital expenditure, which is going to cost the state very dearly in the years to come.
Look at how we have placed our budget. While we have maintained welfare, We are also ensuring that we create a better environment for investment and create more employment. For example, the LEAP program that has been announced in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns, that's the Local Economic Acceleration Program. I think that's going to be a game changer for Karnataka. And tell me which government does not rely on borrowings, but we have the capacity to repay. That's why people trust us, federal agencies trust us, external agencies trust us.
So Siddaramaiah budget, when he presented the last year budget, we had said that he will not be able to achieve these figures. If you look at the final figures now, he has fallen short of more than 9,000 crores of tax revenue. And whereas the central government tax contribution has come more than anticipated. Central government grants are more than anticipated. But even then he ends up blaming central government for not giving enough support. Whereas he himself is not able to collect what he had promised. This is the second year in a row where Mr. Siddaramaiah has missed his collection target. Again, this year also, in his proposed budget, he has shown that he will be able to collect 15.5% more tax collection than what he has already done. The state is growing at 7.4% percentage. How can he collect 15% more? So this figure, this budget is full of false figures.
I'm not sure if you have read the entire budget book as yet. I think there's a great impetus on IT and industry to push it beyond Bengaluru, not just Bengaluru. Although Bengaluru has been given 7,000 crores for infrastructure, but the entire budget's focus is on increasing economic activities beyond Bengaluru, create more hub and spoke models around Bengaluru and in other regions as well. Like I said, create better economic activities, stimulate growth, create more employment, ensure that we not only power Karnataka, but we power for the nation as well.
Okay, the BJP has given its one-liner. What is your one-liner as far as the budget to describe it?
Oh, well, like I said, it's an empowering budget.
And the Congress, but joining me this evening to make sense of the numbers and understand what's in store for Karnataka and Bengaluru, respected Professor Narendra Pani, also with us this evening to focus on Bengaluru, urban governance expert Sridhar Pabishetty and B.S. Murthy, CEO of Human Capital. My first question to you, Professor Narendra Pani, and this is one that we've raised in the past as well. With fiscal deficit bordering just under the legislatively permissible limits and increased borrowings, are welfare schemes and the financial outlay for them sustainable in the long run, or are they beginning to show the pressure on the overall state finances?
See, the way the welfare schemes have been designed, or the guarantees have been designed, they have a fixed budget. So as the size of the overall budget grows, their pressure on the budget begins to decline, which is what you're seeing in this budget as well. The amount that has been given to them is for these schemes, for the guarantees, is a little less than last time, but you can take it as broadly at the same level. That allows the budget to invest more in other areas, because the overall size of the budget is growing. So that's basically they have managed to freeze the welfare where it is. So now the issue is that what do you do with that surplus, or what do you do with the additional funds that you're getting from a larger budget? That is something that we can debate, but the welfare is no longer a point of pressure on this budget. It is really, you could argue that the budget does not, sorry.
As you make that point, sir, is fiscal deficit and increased borrowings a concern for you in the long run?
No, I don't. I think it is broadly within the limits, and I think you need to make use of these limits, particularly if you're at a time when consumption is sort of beginning to taper off a bit. It's useful to use the budget in a way that keeps that demand going. Obviously, there's a risk of overdoing this, but I think the act that he's following, the fiscal, the limits that have been set, I think they have been thought through and they have been established for many years now, and I think it tends to work. As long as you're willing to function within those limits, you can use the leeway you get from borrowing.
Right. Thanks very much there, Professor Pani, there on the larger overview of the budget in terms of the larger financials. But Sridhar Pabishetty, when you look at Bengaluru itself, in terms of tunnels, roads, IT parks, startup ecosystem, what do you believe are the key takeaways? Enough in the budget for Bengaluru?
Yeah, I think there's a larger point of trying to look at what solutions you are trying to prioritize over here. Though the amount is looking good for tunnel roads and double-decker flyovers, the question we need to go back and see, is this the best way to put money in? Public transport could have been prioritized over these infrastructures. We need to decongest the city. Additional, these projects are not necessarily, at least the tunnel roads are not necessarily prioritizing public transport. So we need to look at that problem and be cautious about it. I would have wanted to see a lot more emphasis on public transport to decongest the city, right? Secondly, in terms of fiscal management, just to add to what Narendra Pani sir was saying, the state is increasingly dependent on borrowing, which will limit our ability in the long term. We are almost at 25% of GSDP when you look at our total liabilities. So we would end up with 7.64 lakh crore of liability, and this is something for us to watch out for. Otherwise, we will end up, our future options will reduce. What's also important now to see is how much of the Beyond Bangalore will deliver for us, right? And if, as the minister said, Beyond Bangalore has got a lot of potential. If that's going to happen, then we have a lot more breather coming in for this year and next year. So it's important that Beyond Bangalore functions, as well as whatever we are planning for Bangalore also goes forward.
Right, Mr. Murthy, one of the smiling points is that movie tickets being capped at 200, which is sort of gone viral as expected online. But, you know, the fact that consumer prices across the board have been left untouched would be another big plus as far as consumers are concerned. What do you think are the key takeaways as far as Bengaluru is concerned?
I think it is also, entertainment is a part and parcel of life. As we know, the movie tickets were up to about 1,500 rupees in the first 1 or 2 days. It was insane. And it was simply out of pocket for anybody to go and watch a movie with a family of 4. You would end up paying 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. Tamil Nadu, I think, was the first state which did that, capped the ticket prices at about 200. Karnataka has done it, which is actually a good thing. It increases the ability of a moviegoer to actually go and enjoy a movie in the theater rather than anywhere else. I personally think it's a good move, and it's a welcome move.
Right. And overall, in terms of Bengaluru, quickly, what would you believe key points? Go ahead, Sridhar.
Bangalore, yes. I think, as Mr. Sridhar also pointed out, Bangalore is always a work in progress. It never stops. And just to give, I'll take 30 seconds. Bangalore by area is about 740 square kilometers. We have 1.2 crore vehicles. We have 25 lakh cars, which is the most car-driven city in the country. We have more cars than Delhi. So any amount of roads or other things are all work in progress. I think the only way, the stretch of metros extending up to the outskirts of Bangalore, increasing frequencies, I think there is the only way.
Absolutely.
9,000 electric buses coming in is a welcome part. It also reduces a little in terms of the, what to say.
Absolutely. I think
that is also the best part.
I think Sridhar's advice would be go watch a movie at $200, but please take the metro to the movie hall. Don't take a car.
Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Well, since budgets and movies are also related in a different angle, when we look at the national budget, the challenge was about saying GST kitna lagega, popcorn ka kya hoga. I hope Siddaramaiah also had put some cap on the popcorn price in the movie theaters as well. Right? So that's a missing point.
Oh, you're not just interested in cheap movies, you're interested in cheap popcorn. I'm really sorry. I wish we had more popcorn time to discuss this, but unfortunately we've completely run out of time on this discussion. We'll have to take a very short break here on the Southern View. When we come back, lots more.
Few of us ever look after our ears as much as we should, even when hearing loss can interfere with everything that makes us, us. Relationships, passions, independence. But you can keep living the life you love. All the laughing, dancing, and connecting. When you personalize your hearing care with Hidden Hearing, discover how it's possible to keep being you. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
When Tony passed, we wanted to celebrate him his way. All he ever spoke about was bite this, bite that. I'll never forget our first date. Huge grin on his face as he rode up on that big noisy thing. And that's exactly the way he'd want to be remembered.
At Co-op Funeral Care, we know everyone is different. That's why we offer funeral plans to funeral services that are personal, every step of the way.
What are you so happy about?
I've just made a claim. We could be owed thousands.
My claim group?
Yeah, the cars we bought on finance, well, the lenders could have charged hidden commissions. It's dead simple to claim.
Hey, I had 2 cars before we met.
Go to My Claim Group. You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from cars you bought on finance since 2007, even if you can't remember the details.
Done.
Simple, eh?
Go to My Claim Group now.
Claims made simple.
Health isn't someday in the future. It's now. It's same-day GP appointments. Physio without GP referrals. Cancer testing, scans, and diagnosis fast. Questions for an expert at any hour about anything. Routine dental checkups every year for brighter smiles. Support that lasts for as long as it takes. Feeling your best every day starts today. Call or go online now for your quote.
What's that?
Have you only just noticed? I got it last year.
No, not that. That.
Looks like a nationwide card.
Yeah, I thought you'd know that, Dad.
Why them and not me?
Just feels good to bank somewhere that's owned by its members, rather than someone like you.
Missed me.
Because we're owned by our members, we put members first. Nationwide, a good way to bank.
Rebel in the comfort of home. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Look at you, the big winner. Not you. You use QuickBooks to send invoices and manage expenses, saving your business up to 8 hours a week, giving you more time to flourish.